Hi, going to make probably inscrutable, quick video on some of the words that I've recently made that are relevant to accounting and other things that I've written about. So I'm going to just go through quickly. I've just created these words group, which is one of the most very powerful word in Arthur Whitney's K, which he just designates with just the equal sign. In any case, starting with some accounts that I brought over from another table and copied them over into res and then pulled them out of res and split on line feeds. And I end up with a table like this, which just happens to be farm things. But one of the things you can see, the form of I keep accounts in is just executing a timestamp and until someone, me or someone else, goes and finds it, worthwhile to change the parser to automatically turn things into floats. You've got to take this and turn it into actually a float vector, one item vector. Then tick little barn, that's the from. This is the form of the header for it. Here's the overall structure, the header. And I'm not going to bother turning this into a complete database, which would make that the first item and these lists the second item. In any case, I've wanted to go and aggregate these by month. You can see there's some that multiples in a single month, generally bi-weekly payments. But I made Word in particular monthly, which divides those these timestamps by 100 and takes the min and turns it into an integer. So let's go back to this line here where I have this original T0, and if I execute the rest of this line, this evaluates each of those lines and flips it, which turns it into essentially a database form of a list of correlated lists. The first one, each of those items is a separate list, and I'm taking this. This takes that first list, the dates. Whoa, didn't recognize I misspelled it there. That just now goes and grabs the first list, and then apply monthly to each of those items, each monadic, and save that as T1, and then do nub and save that as T2. So I execute this, and what nub does is it returns the unique values of each of these items, and nub is something that I went through relatively recently, and here's a line that is excessively complex because this essentially makes a list of these two words, and I'm selecting essentially execute, split this on day lines as opposed on lines, and that's what this whole business right here is essentially a loop. But anyway, it's grabbing the text and it's splitting it on day lines, and it's finding all occurrences of nub. And actually I worked on that and wrote it, and so here are the definitions of, I made nub B. You'll notice that there's a common to have a something that returns a Boolean, and then the index is related to that Boolean, and in the case of nub, the values of those. So here we have, I've executed, well, I think I just messed up T0, right? Yes, I did. So let me come back here and execute that, and execute that, and now I haven't defined these, so let me define these and come down here and execute. Okay, I need to finish what I started yesterday. And let me get back to this. Hit F12 to put down a day line. Hit F11 to put down the timestamp and save everything. Let me erase some of this, which was just in the process of constructing things. But one thing that let me do, because these group functions, and unfortunately this is the sort of thing that happens. My match function is not generalized as it should be, so I've just written this to simply deal with integers doing the equal I on things. In any case, though I want to tick nub, make a point about a number of these families of functions that where you have, first of all, you have something which returns a Boolean image of where the items are true. And one of the simple brilliances of Iverson is to just have true being 1 and 0 being false, and thus it's in the domain of arithmetic. And plus slash, summing across all the truths, is frequently very useful. But I wanted to show, so first you have a Boolean of first occurrences of each item that's in a list, multiple occurrences. And then nubi at goes and returns the indices of all the well, in this case, the ones in the Boolean string, so it gives you the addresses. It's actually, Arthur Whitney's word is somewhat more brilliant than that, and at is both his symbol and definition. And then you have actually nub, which returns the actual values, as you see when let me go through here and make sure that I've got everything executed. This is the database form of the set of, yes, this is continuing, so I don't have to repeat it. And monthly, so at this point, I'm going to change what I'm doing here because I want to refer back to T0. So let me go and make this. I only have a few variables around. The capital T's persist. So let me execute this. And this, so now this is the nub, and I've eliminated that. So now these functions, let me make sure that they're both occurred. T1 is the whole list. I realized I didn't really need to say that capital T1, but what I wanted to show here is, okay, T1 is the whole list of dates. Now the Boolean form returns a matrix where, okay, these are each of the uniques, and these are the addresses, the indices where they occur. So let me use X, and now I've got a list of the addresses of all of those occurrences. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because T0, the database, is, let me flip that back to make it simpler. Flip is the only, it's interesting that the issue with K is, does simple lists of lists suffice? And virtually the only operation that actually operates over more than one dimension is flip, transpose. So this turns it back in. You can see the essentially the original form of the items. Actually, this is a simple thing to take. I'm gonna do this. Okay, I have these indices. And I hope I don't screw something up, but I will go and it's simpler to do flip, but actually this is very useful when you have it in the database form. It's essentially the same thing. But I have T1, and what do I want? At each of those each of those right things. So let's see if I really get, yes, okay. So here you see I have now a list where each list is a list of 2 items, and those are by the date. These are the selections by the dates. And if you are interested enough in this to go and seek to start turning cozy into what it can be, into the Python killer that it can be, um, uh, then let me know whether you have a easy way. Enough for now, okay?